Hey, Ag Teacher Thoughts here, coming at you with another video, and this one we're going to talk about early season pollinators. So we've got one here in this daffodil. He's kind of hanging out and warming up. So looking at that patterning on there, his structure, his shape, his size, most people would say honeybee, but it's a bit too early for a honeybee here, and he doesn't move the same. He's kind of abrupt. He doesn't kind of lumber along. I would say that this is a species of fly. At this time of year, this is definitely a time that we have a lot of our solitary bees come out, and those are a lot of our early season pollinators. So let me show you a couple that are here, and then I'll talk a little bit more about a pollinator that I used to use when I lived in Oregon. So let's go look at what we've got over here. Up here under the eaves of my house, I have a few tubes that I've set up, and these are bamboo. And if you look in there really closely up, right there, you can see a lot of dried leaf cuttings and blossoms. And then anywhere that there's a gap up here under my eaves, you can see that there are also blossoms that have been shoved in up in here. And these are definitely nests of cutter bees. Now, cutter bees are an early species of solitary bee, so they come out fairly early in the season. And what they do for their nest material is they'll actually come into blossoms and they'll chew off a little circle or a ellipse off of the edge of that circle, and they'll fly it back to their nesting area, and they will pack it in there and create different cells. And I believe they also do pollen balls in there for their young. Cutter bees are new to me. I'm still learning about them. But they're using plant material for their nest. Where I came from originally, I didn't have cutter bees. They weren't really prevalent there. Here we've got enough little holes around our house that the cutter bees, the cutter bees kind of massacre my flowers, which is new. I'm not used to that. I mean, I do love to see the pollinators, but I am also the plant nerd, and I don't really like my flowers having holes in them. But that's okay. I love pollinators for other things. So where I was at before, I had colonies of mason bees. And mason bees are a solitary bee, but I raised them in bee boxes. So instead of just one or two tubes for mason bees, I had hundreds. And I kept them all at my front porch, which is actually kind of crazy. But hey, that's where I had them. Now, with them, so anyway, I had these bee boxes all by my front door, and I started off with one bee, and then the next year it was a couple dozen bees, and the next year it was like 100 bees, and then before I knew it, I had like 500 bees building nests at my front door. When I finally had to move, I went through and I sold all of my mason bee supplies, and I had about 5,000 cocoons, which was kind of crazy. But the best part is mason bee cocoons. If you buy them retail, you're going to pay about $1 a cocoon. Wholesale, they sell for, depending on who you're talking to, anywhere from 25 cents to 50 cents wholesale. So I was a beekeeper of mason bees. Now, mason bees, they don't make honey, they make little pollen balls. And mason bees, for their nesting material, they actually use mud and not plant material. So where I was at, we got a lot more rain, so we had more mason bees. And it was pretty cool. I loved it. I loved having mason bees. I love keeping bees. I've got an old Instagram account. It has a video on there. I'll see if I can link it about me talking about my mason bees. But anyway, this is the time that our early first pollinators come out. Apparently here, the insect I showed you earlier was a fly, but I'm expecting the cutter bees to start hatching pretty soon. They just need to have enough plant material and flowers to use. And that's why you'll see a lot of flowers in my yard, is I'm there to try to help out the early spring pollinators. So tulips, daffodils, crocus, hyacinths, all those, love to have those in my garden. But anyway, as I see more pollinators, I will highlight them and we'll talk about them and kind of what their benefits are. But I hope you learned something. Ag Teacher Thoughts out.